Characterizing the nervous system's control of human leg external forces. My name is Pawel Kudzia. I'm presenting this project that is a collaboration between Steve Rivinovich and Max Donlin at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia, Vancouver. Humans are well adapted to move in many different ways and navigate many various environments. Consider a soccer player navigating the field, avoiding oncoming defenders. To score a goal, this player must execute motion precisely while adapting to the surroundings. Many might consider this a display of agility, moving quickly and constantly redirecting their motion. Objectively, being agile correlates with excelling in other movements, such as running fast or jumping high. To excel in these tasks requires that people generate appropriate external ground reaction forces that accelerate their center of mass. When the foot interacts with the ground, the external force vector has a magnitude and a point of origin. The magnitude component I refer to as force magnitude, and the point of origin on the foot I refer to as force position. The control of the magnitude of the external force vector and the position where the force is applied by the foot onto the ground are key determinants of translational and rotational acceleration. Effective control of these force properties may help explain differences between humans and other animals, and between humans and engineered systems. The objective of this work was to therefore characterize the performance of the human leg in controlling the force magnitude and force position of an externally applied force. To accomplish our goal, we built a rig that constrained people vertically and horizontally over top of a ground-embedded force plate. Participants stood in the rig on one leg in a posture that resembled the mid-stands of a run. On a screen in front of them, we provided them with real-time feedback of either the force magnitude or the force position that they were exerting onto the ground with their foot. Using step functions that we displayed on the screen, we asked them to best match the real-time signal to the prescribed force magnitude or force position step function. They achieved this for force magnitude control by pushing more or less against the ground with their foot. And for force position control, they achieved this by shifting their pressure beneath their foot, either anteriorly, posteriorly, or medial-laterally. Our control outcomes of interest were overshoot, which is the percent overshot above the target, rise time, which is the time it takes to go from 10 to 90% of the signal value, steady state error, steady state variability, fall time, which is the time it takes to go from 90% to 10% of the signal value, and bandwidth, which is a measure of how fast the system responds to changes in the input command. Here's a picture of someone in the apparatus. We recruited 14 participants for the study, and the experiment consisted of 2 testing days. Here on the x-axis is time, and on the y-axis is magnitude in times body weight. Participants performed 4 different target step size values, as indicated by the dashed lines, where they went from some base value to a new target level value, such as 0.85 times their body weight or 1.25 times their body weight. And for force position control, participants performed 4 of each anterior-posterior and medial-lateral. Again, time is on the x-axis, and now y is displacement, which is a shift in the force position in either the anterior-posterior or medial-lateral direction. In both testing sessions, participants performed many repeats of each step magnitude, while best matching the prescribed target step function. When evaluating performance, I use the average of the 5 fastest responses, which I consider their best performance. All right, so moving on to some of the results. I found that people were well able to match the prescribed step functions for both force magnitude control and force position control. Again, time on the x-axis, and on the y-axis is the magnitude. And here in the faded color is the mean response of each participant, and the dark color is the overall mean response for force magnitude control and for force position control in the anterior, posterior, and medial lateral directions. Participants were well able to control the external force magnitude and position by quickly responding to and closely matching the range of command and target step sizes. If you look at some representative trials, we can see that we observe similar performance in terms of speed and accuracy for both force magnitude and force position control for control characteristics, which were overshoot, rise time, bandwidth, steady state error, steady state variability, and fall time. Here I show one representative trial for force magnitude at 0.45 times body weight, a representative trial for a 2.5 centimeter shift in the anterior position, and a 1 centimeter lateral shift. To further describe force control performance, we fitted the empirical data to a second order model. Here is a linear differential equation where x is the input and y is the measured output. Kp is the process gain describing the change in output y induced by change in input x. Z is the damping constant. T1 is the rate of change. And Td is the process delay time, or dead time. We use a second order model, as the first order model would not be able to characterize the overshoot that we observed in the empirical data. We fit this model to the empirical data using numerical optimization here on the x-axis is time, and now on the y-axis is the normalized value to 1. And here I show you 3 representative trials. So the yellow is the empirical data for this trial, and the black is the model for force magnitude control, anterior posterior force position control, and medial lateral control. For all different ranges of target step sizes, we find R-squared values above 0.85, suggesting that this controller is a good model for the control of external forces in humans. In fact, this controller, and by extension the human leg, rises to step changes in 165 milliseconds, but overshoots targets by 15%. It settles on targets in 170 milliseconds and then exhibits no steady state error or variability. It can accurately track changes in force magnitude or position that oscillate twice per second. Benchmarking for force control performance in young, healthy humans will be useful for understanding the effect of age, disease, and injury on force control and human agility. I invite you to come visit my poster so we can further discuss the details of this study. Thank you for listening.